He got a German shepherd for his paralyzed son, but what the dog did next left them in tears. They say a father will do anything to see his child smile again. Even when the doctors say there's no hope left, every day he watched his little boy sit in silence, paralyzed not just in body but in spirit, until one day he brought home a German shepherd, not as a cure, not as a miracle, just as a last desperate act of love. But what that dog did next, no one saw coming. It changed their lives and left them all in tears. If this moment moved you, share it. In the comments, have you ever witnessed an animal change a life? Your story might be the next legend we unravel. The boy's name was Adam, just 7 years old, with a smile that used to light up rooms until the accident. A drunk driver had run a red light. One moment, he was chasing bubbles in the back seat. The next, he was in a hospital bed, silent, unmoving. His spine had been crushed, his legs wouldn't work, and worse, he stopped speaking, not a word, not even a tear, just silence, his father. Daniel tried everything, therapy, toys, even puppet shows, but Adam had vanished into himself. It was like the little boy he once knew was locked behind a glass wall, unreachable. Daniel sat by his bedside, night after night, whispering stories, wiping drool from his chin, praying to a god. He wasn't sure, still listened, and then came Buddy. He wasn't special. At first glance, just a young German shepherd with kind eyes and oversized paws. Daniel had found him at a rescue shelter, last one in the cage, labeled nervous with children. But something about that dog, the way he pressed his head into Daniel's palm, the way he didn't bark, just watched it, felt like fate. Daniel didn't bring Buddy home expecting a miracle. He just hoped the dog might make the silence less heavy. When Buddy first saw Adam, he didn't rush in with excitement. He approached slowly, cautiously, as if he sensed the pain in the room. He sat beside the wheelchair, eyes never leaving the boy for minutes. Nothing happened. Adam didn't flinch, he didn't look, but Buddy stayed quiet, still loyal. The next morning, everything changed. Daniel had left the room for just a minute. When he came back, Buddy had placed his head gently on Adam's lap, and Adam's fingers had moved, not a lot, just a twitch, but it was the first movement in weeks. Daniel stared, eyes wide. Adam, he whispered nothing. But then the boy blinked slowly, and Daniel knew something was different. The days that followed were small miracles strung together. Buddy would nuzzle Adam's hand and Adam's fingers would curl. He would lick Adam's cheek and Adam's lips would twitch, just a little, almost like a smile, trying to remember how to be born. Then one morning, Daniel heard something he thought he'd never hear again. Laughter, soft, broken, but real. Adam was laughing as Buddy rolled on the carpet, belly up, pawing the air like a clown. Tears poured down Daniel's face. He dropped to his knees and kissed his son's hand over and over. Adam didn't pull away this time. He looked right at his dad and said one word, "Buddy!" Daniel couldn't breathe. The boy who hadn't spoken in months had spoken, all because of a dog who wasn't even supposed to be good with children. From that day on, Buddy never left Adam's side. He slept beneath his bed, waited by the bathroom door. When therapists came over, Buddy was there too, nudging Adam to try harder, walk farther, hold on longer. Adam's progress sped up in ways no doctor could explain. But the real miracle, it happened. 6 months later, the family was out in the park. Adam in his wheelchair, Buddy walking beside him proudly like a soldier guarding a prince. Daniel was tying his shoe when he heard a gasp, followed by clapping. He turned, and what he saw dropped him to his knees. Adam was standing, shaky, yes, wobbling, yes, but standing. He had both hands on Buddy's back, using him as support. The dog stood perfectly still, not moving an inch, as if he knew this was the moment. One small step, then another. 4 steps later, Adam collapsed back into the chair, panting. But Daniel didn't move, because in those 4 steps he had witnessed something science couldn't explain. Love had moved what doctors said would never move again. That night, as Adam slept, with Buddy curled against his legs, Daniel sat in the hallway, hands in his hair, and cried like he hadn't cried since the hospital. Not out of sadness, but because his son was coming back to him piece by piece. And it had nothing to do with medicine. It had everything to do with the heart of a dog who had once been left behind. Buddy was no ordinary dog. He was a healer, a protector, a bridge between silence and laughter, between despair and hope, and even now, years later, when Adam walks fully on his own. When he runs across the backyard with Buddy barking joyfully behind him, Daniel often finds himself watching them through the kitchen window, still amazed because that one decision to take a chance on a broken dog ended up healing. A broken boy, years passed, but Buddy never changed. He remained Adam's shadow, his silent guardian, through every stumble, every therapy session, every fall. Buddy was there, steady, patient, devoted in a way no human could ever replicate. When Adam had his first school day, walking on his own, Buddy waited outside the classroom door. The entire time the teachers allowed it, they understood. Buddy wasn't just a dog, he was part of Adam's story, written into every step he took at recess. Other children gathered around Adam asking about the big fluffy dog who seemed to understand every command without a word. Adam would smile, confident now, his shoulders taller, and say, "He's my best friend, he gave me back my legs." And he wasn't wrong. The bond between them became something sacred, something even Daniel couldn't fully explain. He'd often catch Buddy watching Adam in silence, like he was guarding something fragile, something precious. Love lived in those eyes, deep love, unspoken, but louder than any words. Then came the winter, when Buddy began to slow down. His steps were heavier. He stopped chasing birds in the backyard. He slept more, and one day, after watching Adam complete an entire staircase without help, Buddy lay at the top tail, wagging once. Then still he passed, peacefully. Adam was 14. He didn't cry at first. He just sat there petting his best friend's head, whispering "thank you" over and over. Daniel wanted to say something, anything, but he knew this goodbye didn't need words. They buried Buddy beneath the oak tree, the same one where Adam had taken his first unassisted step. They placed his leash beside him and a small sign that read, "The dog who taught me to walk." Years later, Adam would speak at a school assembly, telling his story to a room full of children. He stood tall, no cane, no chair, just a strong young man with fire in his eyes. He ended his speech by saying, "I had doctors, therapists, medicine, but what brought me back to life wasn't any of those. It was love, it was loyalty, it was a dog named Buddy who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." The room was silent, and then applause. Some of them cried, others stood, but everyone left, remembering one thing, that sometimes the purest love comes from the hearts that beat on four legs. So if you ever wonder whether animals can heal, remember Adam and Buddy, a boy who couldn't walk a dog, who wouldn't give up, and a father who trusted love more than logic. This isn't just a story, it's a legend, a furry legend, unraveled. If this story moved you, share it and tell us in the comments, have you ever had an animal save your soul? Because your story might be the next legend we bring to